Berkshire too big to fail? On the same
I
topic,
think I heard of a book by that name. Who wrote it?
on the same topic, how do you feel about Dodd-Frank, and now that it's being implemented, how is it impacting Berkshire's insurance businesses and our investments in banks like Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs?
I don't think it's affecting Berkshire's insurance businesses, to my knowledge. I mean, we've had, to my knowledge, we've never had anything that impinges on our activity arising from a too big to fail doctrine. The capital ratios for large banks are being established at somewhat higher levels than smaller banks, and that obviously affects return on equity. The ratios, as I understand it, for Wells are not as high as they would be for Citi or JP Morgan, but they're higher than they would be for a local bank in Omaha. And the higher the capital ratio, the lower the return on equity will be. I consider the banking system in the United States to be stronger than certainly any time in the last 25 years. Capital is dramatically higher. A very significant part of the loans that were troublesome are gone. The loans that have been put on in the last 4 or 5 years are far better. I think we've got, Canadian banking system is very strong, but compared to Europe, I think our banks are, or compared to our banks of 20 years ago, I think they're dramatically stronger than they were then. I do not worry about the banking system being the cause of the next bubble. I mean, it will be something else. I mean, we will have bubbles in capitalism. Capitalism goes to excess, and it's because of the humans that operate in it. And we will have that again, but usually you don't get it the same way as you got it before. I don't think it'll be a housing boom next time, but I feel very good about our investment in Wells Fargo. I feel very good about our investment in U.S. Bank. I feel very good about our investment in M&T. All of those are very strong banks pursuing, in my view, sound practices, and they should be decent investments over time. They won't earn as high a return on tangible equity, nearly as high a return as they would have 7 or 8 years ago, because the rules have been changed, and they have been changed to provide thicker equities, and that pulls down return on equity. Charlie has been known to express himself on this subject, and I'll give him the floor.
Well, I'm a little less optimistic about the banking system long term than you are. I would like to see something more extreme in terms of limiting bank activities. I do not see why massive derivative books should be mixed up with insured deposits that are insured by the country.
I'm with Charlie on that.
The more bankers want to be like investment bankers instead of bankers, the worse I like it. I don't want to say more.
Yeah.
I get in enough trouble on the subject already.
I can see the journalists just licking their chops over there, waiting for Charlie to throw a thunderbolt, but he's unusually restrained. We're now very close to noon. I promised 5 years ago, I wrote about 5 or 6 years ago about the inordinate costs that investors bear, and many investors bear in getting sold various types of products. And I talked about private equity and all kinds, and a whole variety of things. The investment world has been very good at extracting a very significant percentage of the returns that investors get for themselves. So I offered to bet anyone that wanted to step up to the plate, that a group of hedge funds would not beat an unmanaged no-load index over a 10-year period. And I promised, and then I got a taker, and a very nice group of people. I like them, Ted Sidus and a group, and they took me up on this. So we each put about $350,000 or so into something where in 10 years it would, well, we put it in zero coupon treasuries, which would mature and be worth $1 million in 10 years. And I promised to report on the bet every year. And what we did this year, interest rates fell so far that our original $700,000 or so investment got to be worth like $950,000 just because the 5-year treasury got so low. So there was very little appreciation left into it between now and 5 years from now when it matures. So we sold the zero coupon treasuries and we bought Berkshire with the proceeds. And I guaranteed that it would be worth $1 million. Currently, it's worth about $1.2 million, so that the charities are benefiting to some extent. Now, Ted has one charity, which is a very worthwhile charity, and I have Girls Inc. of Omaha, which is a charity I selected. And we can put the figures up on there as to where we stand at the moment. The hedge funds got off to a fast start, and we're 13 points ahead of the index fund at the end of the first year. But the last 4 years, and these are fund to funds, so they really represent probably 200 or 300 maybe hedge funds underneath. But there's two levels of fees involved. There's the standard fees of the hedge funds, which probably many times are 2 and 20, but can be other things. And then there's the fee of the fund of funds on top of it. So we now are at the halfway point, and I'll keep reporting to you every year how we do. And if Berkshire does well, we'll have well over $1 million to distribute to one of two charities. You might enjoy going to a website called longbets.org. That's where they're the people that hold the money. And you will see that there are a number of propositions that people have wagered on. And the proponents and the opponent of every proposition give a short little description. Ted gave a description of why he thought he'd win. I gave a description of why I thought I'd win. But some of these I just can't resist pointing out a couple of them. You can see these on the web, but one of it is that a large collider will destroy the Earth in 10 years. Now, there's a $1,000 bet on that, but I'm not sure who will collect. I thought that was an interesting one. And there was one other, and then we'll go to lunch. But there are a number of these that are quite interesting. At least one human alive in the year 2000 will still be alive in 2150. Now, that's 148 years from when the bet was entered. There's a $2,000 bet on that. And I hope Charlie is in contention for being the winner of that one.